Well, factoryites and Midas lovers in general, here we are at the Midas stand at Integrate with our good friend Dave Jacques. Dave, Tone Factory Sound.
Hello, mate.
Very well, mate. So, exciting news, we've got the Pro1 right here, and Dave is going to step us through it. So, Dave, perhaps first of all, the differences between the Pro1 and the Pro2, just in the physical size of the desk?
Obviously, we just reduced format, so it's physically smaller surface. They've still kept all the controls you really need to get to, and just condensed some of the metering and things like that to make it a little smaller and lighter.
And that monitor is obviously much smaller as well than on the Pro.
Exactly the same monitor as even on the XL8. We use the same screen in all consoles, so there's no difference across
And they're the ones that you can see in the daylight, of course, that
Yep,
we've heard
absolutely.
speak about.
Yep, no problem with daylight.
And touch screen?
No, we use a different principle where everything on the console is actually touch sensitive rather than the screen itself.
What, every knob on here you can touch?
Yeah, as you can see there, or you probably can't see on the camera, but essentially as you touch all of the controls, the console follows your workflow.
And Dave, the other thing I remember about Midas, the digital consoles, is somebody told me once that you cannot get digital distortion from the mic pre's.
Correct. The way we've set it up is that basically the analog stage of the preamp allows you to overdrive the preamp and get analog saturation.
Like we always have done in the Midas.
Like we all used
consoles,
to do, yep. And it's the first console that I've seen that allows you to do that, but it can never actually generate enough voltage from the preamp to clip out the digital converter. So you can still have all of the analog joy of a big saturated preamp without having to worry about digital clip.
Awesome. So let's talk about in and out. So we've got 24 local inputs on here and outputs. 24
local outputs plus 2 AES EBU pairs with sample rate converters. So you've got both analog and digital on board on the console. So it's really a standalone board and can connect to the Midas digital network.
Well, that's great because we've got 24 on board and can connect to the...
Yep, that's right. So an additional 3 AES 50 ports, which give you additional 72 channels of input and output onto the Midas network.
So do we use the DL251 as our I/O?
Yeah, you can actually use any of the Midas I/O. Everything is cross-compatible across the range, so you can just plug it in and it all works.
So biggest it can get is 72 in, 72 out?
Yeah, plus your analog I/O. So it's basically around 100 channels in and out.
Okay, and dynamics and so forth, they're using what technology there or what brand?
It's their own stuff mainly, so in entirety it's been built from the ground up by Midas, so every input has a selection of 4 different types of compressors, every output has a selection of 5, which you can change in real time and listen to the differences without any clicks or pops. You can just actually step through and listen to the different compressor models. We've had very, very good success with it. Engineers taking up the dynamics, they really like it.
Yep. And graphics, we'd expect them to be quite decent as well?
Yes, they are a Clark Technic DN370, exactly the same as your analog piece of gear that everybody knows and loves, so an industry standard with that, and you have those available on all outputs if you wish.
On every output?
Correct. So on this console, it gives you 27 graphic EQs.
Okay. Let's just step around the back for a tick,
Sure.
Dave, and see what we've got here. So these red LEDs have got me puzzled on the outputs. What do they signify?
They signify whether there's signal present on the XLR. So basically, if you haven't patched anything to it or you're not driving anything out that output, until there's audio present, that light won't extinguish. It's basically a mute light. So it's really handy if you're patching, you can actually go up in the back and go, oh, maybe I haven't turned up that auxiliary out or whatever.
Okay, so as a live desk, we've got everything covered there to do a show. If we wanted to do recording, split to a recording, what would we do with the Midas technology?
Probably the easiest way with Midas, and there's many ways to do it, you can connect to the Clark Technic 96 channel recorder to the console, which in this case, given the number of ports, it will allow you to record real-time and playback 72 channels at 96K 24-bit. The other way to do it is if you want to go out to a DAW or something like that, you connect via these AES 50 ports to what we call a network bridge. It's a 1U rack, and it can convert to MADI, Dante, Ethersound, Cobranet, Aviom, and all of those sort of brands. Important thing about that, though, is it doesn't matter what sample rate you're using on the outside of it, it never dials down the console from its 96K 24-bit. And so it actually separates the clock domains between the two devices. Really handy bit of gear.
Yeah. Something that's got me, well, just looking, what's that glowing green?
That's actually one of the AES 50 connections. We've got these consoles networked currently, so we're passing audio from, in this case actually this is...
So all just visual indicators?
Yeah, it's just basically saying that connection's active and that it's connected and there's a sync lock, if you like, between the consoles. Obviously, when you're passing digital audio, everything's got to be clocked together, and that's all done over the same AS50 connection. So it's one connection to do clock, control data, and also audio bidirectionally.
Incredible, Dave, and very succinct.
No worries.
Thank you very much,
Cheers,
mate.
Thanks for coming by.
Good on you.